I was in my childhood room. In this room I spent the happiest days and nights of my childhood. I left there and entered the next room, but I had never seen this room before in my life. There was a strange, unpleasant smell. Then I heard my sister's voice from the third room upstairs. I immediately jumped up the stairs. The scene in front of me was so scary. A dead girl was tied to a chair. I turned back and left the room. As soon as I stepped out of the room, my house disappeared, and I found myself in a deserted forest. I looked back and saw a terrible shadow moving around my house. I saw a girl wrapped in a shroud sitting on a chair in front of the table. She was saying something to me, but I ignored her and turned back. I wanted to go out. There was a strange-looking watchman sitting by the door. I told him that I want to go out. He said in a muffled voice that you should use the other door. I started walking towards the main door. In front of me in the hall, various and strange creatures wandered. I could not see their faces, but most of them were children. It was probably the main hall of a hospital. Someone called me from behind. I turned around and there was a very scary dead woman standing. A fire was burning in front of me and I was sitting on a stone reading a book. Suddenly the atmosphere started getting cold. I heard animal sounds and then wild goats started appearing around me. To my right was a light coming from a distant house, while to my left was the forest from which a wild goat was coming towards me. As the goat was moving towards me, the forest fire was also growing. Coming near the fire, suddenly the goat stood on two legs like humans. It looked like half goat and half human. The height of this goat was gradually increased and suddenly he became a giant. I was standing in front of a river. A scary ghost was standing in the river staring at me. A cold wind came from my right side. I turned to the right and started running. There was a scary church in front of me. I looked back and the same ghost was hiding behind a tree and watching me. I quickly entered the church. As I entered the church, I heard a sound of someone's crying. I looked to my left. A child was sitting on the ground and he was crying. The child was quite scary. Suddenly a woman appeared and took the child in her arms. The child fell silent on the woman's chest, but both of them were looking at me in the most terrifying way. I often see strange creatures in my dreams. Most of them I still remember very well. This time I saw that I was standing in an enchanted forest. There were strange trees around me. I have never seen such trees before in my life. A scary creature came out of these trees and started attacking me. I ran from there, but again there was another scary creature waiting for me. He was screaming. And then a deadly creature came out of this creature's mouth and started running towards me. Suddenly the scene changed and in front of me giant trees were walking like some scary giant creatures.
These were some of the scariest nightmares. If you have an interesting scary nightmare, you can send us to the email in description. See you in next chapter.